RNA and our human evolution, our transmutation, and how naturally the DNA transmutes and evolves, and that we are who we are, where we are, and how we are, due to the billions and billions and billions of years of our development. I'm not for one moment suggesting we came from monkeys. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about pure human development. And we are shaped by nature, by solar flares, by Earth's magnetic radiation, by cosmic radiation, by cosmic dust. There's cosmic dust and food that falls on a daily basis, 24/7, every minute of the day onto the planet, which we absorb through our breath, through our skin. And this is what's constantly shaping us. We're also getting constantly devolved, if you like. So there's an evolution and a devolution happening at the same time, particularly now where we are living in a world where there is a huge amount of pesticides, chemicals, environmental toxins, chemical toxins, radiation, negative thoughts, negative aberrant forces. And all of these things I've just mentioned to you are linked to damaging our DNA. Many genetic diseases, diabetes, for example, is due to an incorrect genome code. And everything today is going to be surrounded by maintaining, preserving our human genome and allowing it to advance at the pace it should be advancing. Detoxifying, removing any toxicity that shouldn't be there, that's in the way of our development. As the Earth evolves, we evolve. We're on the Earth, it's our planet. And as I said, we got here due to natural forces, natural evolution. Our DNA is nothing like our ancestors and our ancestors. And our DNA is shifting every single day, probably every single minute, every time there's a cell division. So nothing ever repeats exactly the same. Okay, so fractals are never exactly the same. So there's always an adjustment. All right, and we need to be in time, and on point with our DNA replication. So we're going to be talking about a couple of things regarding the DNA, and also I'm going to mention the 365 Healthy by Choice products, which are specifically put together to heighten the development and the progressing and the evolution and transmutation, transformation of our DNA. And partly also that evolution is due to certain highly intelligent plants, namely medicinal mushrooms, the reishi, the chaga, shiitake, lion's mane, cordyceps, the algae, the blue-green algae, chlorella, spirulina, the pollens, propolises, royal jellies. These products, these foods are on another level. In fact, the medicinal mushrooms don't even come from this earth. They're not even earthy. They come from an intergalactic space. They're spores that come down with the cosmic dust, and they settle, and the mycelia grows down through the tree trunks into the soil, and there's a whole network of connection going on down there. And these plants, when we consume them, we will then develop a heightened DNA human genome structure. There's other foods that also do this. For example, a goji berry. The science name is lycium, which means to educate. So when you consume these kind of foods, they are educating us, and these foods are in tune and in line and on point with Earth evolution and how DNA should be evolving. So we want to be in sync with all of this, not actually behind. We don't want to be eating 3 days old cooked food, over-processed food, because that's going to devolve our DNA. We want to be consuming maybe even food that's ahead of us, so that we're gaining momentum in terms of our evolution. And some interesting findings have come out about you know, we thought there were 2 strains and then maybe 3 strains and now 12 strains. So there's lots of strains of DNA, but we're not aware of all of them because some of them are also interdimensional. So I'm going to be showing you, first of all, some information on about DNA, about how we measure it, about how we can repair it. So using these superfoods, using the quantum devices that we have, using the time crystal pendant. There are lots of other ways that our ancestors used to restore the DNA. For example, plaiting. The mere act of plaiting is going to restore the DNA, activate the DNA. Beading with different color sequences, it activates the DNA. Visually, certain designs, crosses, for example, crosses the DNA, will activate our DNA too. So certain clothing and so on, I'll go into that in a bit of detail in the presentation. So lots of really lovely things to speak about today. And always is an honor and a privilege to have all of you here today from around the world. It's so nice. And I just want to pull the one set of slides in that were pulled through, and just so that I'm absolutely ready. You know, DNA is one of the most fascinating things for me. But it's almost beyond DNA. It's almost, we're speaking about epigenetics, beyond DNA. Because the consciousness is there and then the DNA catches up, if I can put it that way. So most of us dealing in the quantum space are aware of the scalar field, aware of the morphogenic field, the universal field. We're aware of the fact that the subconscious and the superconscious operate directly in and are from and part of the morphogenic universal fields. The consciousness is really the here and the now, which is more of a logical space and not really solutions driven, options more. In other words, if you are making a decision, the consciousness will give you the options. It won't really direct you in a universal flow to make the right direct decision. Whereas the superconscious and the subconscious are places where the answers lie, where the universal flow is. So we need to also dip into and be part of and conscious of the superconscious and the subconscious to advance our DNA, put it that way. All right, so our slides are ready for us. And I'm just going to start some of them and then we can go through. So this is what I put together for today, just to have some conversations on the DNA. And I just want to say it again, honestly and truly, we didn't evolve from monkeys. In fact, I think the opposite. I actually think that it was a devolution. So we as humanity, you know, some people are devolving and some people are evolving. That's what I could say, put it that way. So that's just another take on it for you to think about. So when I'm talking about evolution, I'm talking about specifically the human genome and us, just us, human genome. Spent a lot of time studying this, and it brought me to the point where I developed the 365 Healthy by Choice range of products, because everything ultimately, so far as what I do, is aimed at generating, regenerating, developing, enhancing the DNA. And in order to do that, you need a life force. You need a charged battery, you need minerals, you need that battery running properly. And then together with external forces, positive forces, we can then evolve the DNA. And I mean, who wants to leave the planet after a lifetime at a lower evolution than when you came? No, you want to leave at a much higher evolutionary space. So here we go. Let's get on to some of this. As I said, cosmic dust, nature, creativity, and some of these superfoods, which are really, really, really intelligent. I mean, we've had a couple of webinars recently and live chats on medicinal mushrooms. I'm going to talk a lot about that. Personally, I've been taking the algae, the medicinal mushrooms, the pollens, the essential microorganisms for years and years and years now, including ormus gold. And, people sometimes say to me, well, where do you get your energy from? And it's really from this higher vibrational state. So what I'm really saying to you is that the superfoods that I'm speaking about are on a much higher vibrational state than the everyday chicken, cottage cheese, lettuce, tomatoes, and so on. Okay, they're much higher vibrational foods, and I'm including in that sprouts, organically grown fruits, nuts, and seeds. Okay, so we can talk about a Bova scale a little bit later too, because that is my measurement. And you'll find that raw milk green juices are coming in at about 6,000 Armstrong on the Bova scale. And that will keep a human body optimally healthy. But that's not good enough for me. We need to be maximized health. So when you move more towards the spirulinas, chlorellas, blue-greens, cordyceps, lion's mane, some even of the adaptogens, the photes and so on, organic sprouts, we're talking about 9,000 Armstrong on the Bova scale. Sacred sites are sitting on about 14,000. For example, ormus gold is sitting on 23,000. And if you look across the literature, where human bodies went between visible and invisible form, was at 25,000 Armstrong on the Bova scale. So that just gives you an idea of the energy fields I'm speaking about, and I'm aware of and what I want to share with you. All right, because let's forget about all the other stuff. If we raise our vibration, and I've always said this, like a lightning bolt, a shard straight through this three-dimensional clutter, distortion, degeneration, deception, then we're in a much better space, and we living purposefully, thinking clearly, living productively. I always tell that to my patients, because why else would we want to be healthy? And it's more than just physical. It's also emotional, neurological, and spiritual. So it's all happening together. It's all happening in the scalar space. All right, they're all happening in the golden mean, and I'll show you some more in a moment. If there are any questions, please let me know. Okay. All right, let's get moving here. At 8 o'clock, I have Professor Desra Dubonnet joining us, and we're going to be doing quantum software training. The software is called Omnis, O-M-N-I-S. It's the newest, latest quantum software. There's only one of its kind, and invented and developed by Professor Desra Dubonnet. So my presentation will lead into her presentation, and I'm honored to be hosting it, and that'll be at 8 o'clock. So at 8 o'clock, you can stay or leave or join in or whatever you want to. It's always very, very interesting, even if you don't have a device. So just in terms of my products, when we're talking anti-aging, regeneration, we're talking about a very high vibrational space. We're talking about bodies that are clear of toxins, very well nourished, high immune systems, with the genetic code intact. Pure, natural, and unique products. And what I mean by that is nobody has to worry taking a 365 Healthier by Choice product. Right in the beginning, when I developed the range, I saw this sensory overload of products. And a lot of them with fillers and binders, a lot of them synthetic, and also very reductionist based. Even this morning, sitting in the rep training meeting, very reductionist. Here is a smoothie boost that's going to detox your hormones. Here's a smoothie boost that's going to repair your gut. Here's a smoothie boost that's going to build muscles. Really and truly, when I show you my stress defense shield, was developed to do everything in one go. It's medicine, food as medicine. No fillers, no binders, no graphene oxide, no magnetism, no fillers, no binders, no rice powder, no pea powder, so that you are guaranteed of 100% pure, natural, unique products, designed in a way that I haven't seen around the world either. So all of these products have also been validated on the quantum scale, on the microscope, and obviously human evidence, human feedback, and backed by research on all the individual products, especially when I talk about the stem cells. I'll show you too. So that's just regarding the products and what you put in your mouth, because what you put in your mouth is going to have an effect, positive, neutral, or negative, on the DNA. And if you want to damage the DNA, then you choose the poorly put together synthetic stuff in the wrong magnetic spin. It will do that for you. It will lower your vibrational state. It will lower your reading on the angstrom. Okay. If you want to then rather increase the revolutions, the speed, the electron spin of yourself, restore the DNA, take it to a high level, then you will be consuming things on a daily basis that feed that. And the choice is yours. I always say, you have a choice. 365 days a year to choose. All right, so just some notes on the DNA. It carries the creator energy, right? The prana, the chi, the life force. It's where the potential energy shifts into kinetic energy. So we've talked a lot about this. We've talked about the objective and the subjective part of idea manifestation and so on. Whereas subjectively, we will be using the mental part of our bodies. We will be observing things. Whereas when we move more to the objective state, that is when we manifest and we see it in real life. So that is the difference. And that is what's happening, and it's the shift in the DNA. It's where transformation occurs. It's where we carry out our soul work. For example, painters paint, musicians play music, healers heal. We need to do what we came here because our DNA is wired like that. It's where the place where peace and solace of consciousness are achieved. The double helix is sacred, unique, and other forms of DNA recognize us. In other words, animals and plants recognize the higher form of our DNA helix. We use approximately 5% of our DNA and need to activate the rest. So there's lots and lots of space for this. The 2 strands are physical, which we know about and we can actually see visible. The other 11 are in the other dimensions. And the environment is imprinting on our cell membrane, and then this then imprints on the DNA. So that cell membrane is so important, and I will speak about that in a moment too. So we measure and we also realign the DNA with our quantum device. I'm going to show you in a moment. Ormus gold is something we use. It's alchemy. It's salt to gold, and that will allow the strand to unravel and then ravel up again. And then we use food state nutraceuticals. I'll speak to you a lot about those in a moment. Sound will also regenerate the DNA. The sound of bells. Looking at space. Plaiting of hair. The space, from the space point of view, I'm talking about a dome-shaped room, dome-shaped roof, and rooms that are not 4-walled, but rather 5, 6, 7, or 8. So they've done studies where an infrared camera has taken a picture of somebody's aura coming out of a 4-walled room with a flat ceiling. The energy field is tight next to that body. It's drained. The flat ceiling took all the energy, whereas somebody coming out of an 8-sided room with a dome, which has got the scalar wave within the dome, which comes through into the brain, has got an expanded aura. And that's from an architect, not a health person or anything like that. They showed me the photographs. So the space is very important where you live and the space you're occupying on a daily basis. Plaiting of hair, materials and jewelry, and obviously creativity. And this is the golden mean, and this is about our development. And right in the beginning here, people will have experiences, epiphanies, and so on. They will explore their experiences, and they will then unravel and fulfill and live their purpose individually and then eventually collectively. So I really love this diagram because it's really indicating what I think lockdown is all about in terms of our development. So, we're sitting here, a lot of us, and we are exploring and working out our purpose. Some fall off and stay where they are, and other people keep on the continuum. And the DNA is in the golden mean shape. Here's our quantum reports. And what I wanted to show you here specifically is if we go onto the DNA, the part of the matrix with the DNA, you can see RNA, DNA, you can say DNA, enzymes, you can see deoxyribonucleic acid, and all the polymerase enzymes and all sorts of where there's disturbances and so on. You can start seeing cellular nuclear injury. So the quantum device will actually feed it back to us what needs to be realigned, what the root causes are, and how to realign it from a bioresonance point of view and also from a nutritional point of view. So the quantum device will, through bioresonance and an electroceutical manner, realign the DNA. And then the superfoods come in and do it also in the quantum field, because they're as nature made and nature intended, will also educate and realign our DNA. Perfect. Our ancestors knew this. We forgot. And then here's another space which I just want to draw your attention to. These are the 5 RNA and DNA nuclear proteins. And we've got a product called replica RNA DNA, which contains these 5 nuclear protein building blocks. And they are critical for the formation of a DNA strand. Okay, and if they're not there, there will be a snip. And here's some more from the quantum. And you can see here as well the various oncogenes and the telomeres. Are they growing? The telomeres are the shoelaces at the end of the chromosomes as such. And anti-aging experts and professionals measure your anti-aging capacity, your life force, by the length of the telomere. When they're short and stubby, means that you've got DNA damage and degenerating. When they're long, it means that you have a lot of anti-aging capacity, a lot of life force. All right. And so we measure all of this. We can grow them. We can work on them with the quantum device. I just want to show you this so that people know when we talk about, restoring the human genome, how we do it with the device. We go and find the readings and we realign, and then we do it with the superfoods too. So the human genome, just some more interesting facts here. It houses the entire treasury of human inheritance. So we living in a life continuum, all right? And our DNA contains all that information. And the sequencing was obtained originally by the Human Genome Project in April 2003, provided the first holistic view of our genetic heritage. 46 human chromosomes, 22 pairs of autosomal chromosomes, and the 2 sex chromosomes, the X and the Y. So between them all, they house about 3 billion base pairs of DNA that contain about 20,500 protein-coded genes. And all sorts of things can go wrong, you can imagine. The coding regions make up less than 5% of the genome. And the functions of all the remaining DNA is not clear. Some chromosomes have a higher density of genes than the others. So we really are in an infancy phase when understanding all of this. Except to say, it is the seat of our consciousness. So every genetic illness is a mismatch between an organism's genome and its environment. And the epigenetics is what is shifting. And the environmental perspective is shifting our genome. And environmentally, where there's toxins and so on, it's a decodement. Where you're living in a life force rich, high energy environment, it will be encoding. And anything other than this is just window dressing, quite frankly. Even our emotions, right, will affect the composition of our DNA and our genes and the connectiveness. The fear, the anger, the hate, as opposed to courage and strength and so on, are going to tighten the protein binding around the DNA, literally. So you sense your vibrations. These influence which of your genes are going to be activated. Genes that are linked to fear and stress activate genes that lead to illness. Those associated with joy and peace will promote good health. And I think that's a given, but it's just nice to draw our attention to that. So then emotions are not only about how we feel about the world, but how our brains influence our perception of it, says the Professor Adam Anderson. Our genes influence how we literally see our positive and negative aspects of our world more clearly. We may become to believe the world has more rewards or threats. And that gets back to, is your glass half full or half empty? Is your light bulb bright or low? And then noticing what is relevant versus what is trivial. And this is always very interesting because of what we've learned with the time crystal. So the more decluttered we are, the more detoxified we are, the more pure we are, the more we are able to discern what's relevant and what's trivial. The higher our vibration helps us also to make this discernment. And this is what we're aiming for with the superfoods, with the time crystal, with our quantum devices, so that we can declutter literally and heal and actually take ourselves to a higher level than we ever thought we could. All right. So we need to have this discernment. All right. So thinking stressful thoughts, I've just said, that is going to shorten our lifespan and really challenge our DNA. Mindfulness and meditation are two ways to keep the telomeres intact. And there's been many studies of the chakras and the alignment after meditation, oxygen levels, alkalinity levels, after meditation, after yoga. So I don't really want to spend a lot of time here, but this is also part of anti-aging because we bring in the parasympathetic nervous system where we do have the relaxation, the involuntary things happening, digestion, elimination, circulation, and those things need to happen, and that is where we heal. So things affecting our environment and epigenetics, foods, drugs, exposure to toxins, they're going to affect the way the molecules bind and change the structure of the protein that wraps around the DNA. It constricts it. So that protein structure is absolutely critical. And also there can't be any gaps. And that's where the nuclear proteins come in. I'm going to show you some products that do this. This is just background. Nature versus nurture. And this is just a little bit of theory as well. The genome and the epigenome, beyond the genome, genes express when they are transcribed into RNA. They're translated into protein by ribosomes as proteins. The proteins determine the cell's characteristics and functions, and there are over 200 cell functions. So if we don't have the right proteins here, the characteristic of the cell and the way it functions is not going to happen. And then we get division after division after division of the wrongly coded DNA. So to heal ourselves is to be interconnected and amongst people, plants, animals, the soil, the cosmos, have a meaningful impact on the world, focus on what we're meant to do, focus on what energizes us, what brings us joy, be of service to the world, and include all of ourselves to be inclusive as humanity. That would be collective transformation. The DNA can get tagged, and this is something to be aware of as well. Methyl groups will inhibit the transcription of proteins, and it becomes too tight, and the gene then becomes silent. The proteins constrict around the DNA too tightly, and the gene becomes silent. It doesn't work anymore. It's inoperable. Disease sets in. And then you get wrong cell division. Some tags will boost the benefit of the DNA and the unwinding, and I'm going to talk to you about ormus and that in a moment. here these products are. These are the products that actually tag and enhance the functioning of the DNA. So Ormus Gold, it's an alchemical product. I'm going into it just now. The replica RNA DNA that has the 5 nuclear proteins. The Microbiome Reset probiotics talked a lot about people knowing about the intelligence of plants, the intelligence of microbes in us, microorganisms. We are 90% microbial. Therefore, we need to make sure that we have 90% beneficial microbes in us, as opposed to 70% whatever non-beneficial. You know, the wrongly coded toxic, infectious organisms in us, some of them even genetically modified. They need to be removed, detoxed out of us, all right, so that we can then work with the essential beneficial microbes, which enhance our immunity. Because when disease strikes, when the immune system notices and becomes aware of a toxin in the body, whatever you want to call it, the essential beneficial microbes will shift into opportunistic pathogens and go to the site and help the immune system fight the infection. If you have a low microbiome gut flora, you don't have enough wherewithal, you don't have enough nutrients and microbes to go and help the immune system. So you're fighting off, you know, you're on the back foot here. It's important to top up every day with beneficial microbes and enhance that gut flora, because it's passing through us. We need to eat prebiotics so that we can grow the colonies. It's of utmost importance for our immunity and our genes. The essential microorganisms will imprint on our DNA structure. A mitochondria is a microorganism. It's a eukaryote. So we are, as I said, 90% microbial. 99% of our genetic material is plants. 1% is ours. And that 1% will determine size, height, color of eyes, etc., etc. Just the 1% will do that. So we really do need to have a very high concentration of these microbes. Our antioxidants and also the oxidation process, breathing that will detoxify us, and an oxymineral oxidant that will come in further and assist in the detoxification process. So further damage to the DNA, other things that will cause damage, genetically modified organisms, ultraviolet rays, environmental chemical toxins. We're talking here about the these nuclear proteins, the purines and the pyrimidines, just to put it into scientific perspective. So nucleotide structures are changed, or the DNA strands are broken by GMOs, UV, X-rays, toxins. When they break, when the bond breaks, you've got the snip and you've got a problem. Or when the protein is not there, you have a problem, because that green one hasn't got anyone to pair with. Okay, and so the DNA becomes more fragile, not robust anymore. So here are some of the products. This comes out of the product brochure. This is the Ormus Gold. And the Ormus Gold is made of the platinum precious metal minerals. All right, in a 3D suspension. We're talking about gold, silver, iridium, rhodium, copper, nickel, palladium, ruthenium, cobalt, and osmium. And the medical profession are now looking at palladium and so on, because as a metal, precious metal mineral, it targets degenerative tissue. Here we have Ormus Gold, which targets degenerative tissue. It's got so many of these precious metal minerals. Gold is the biggest detoxifying element on the planet. Why am I talking about detoxification in a DNA lecture? Because toxins damage the DNA. So we need to remove them as fast as possible. The other thing that the Ormus Gold does is it enables the DNA strand to unwind. And you'll see here, it also grows the telomeres, promotes healthy RNA DNA, and a host of other things, and a host of organs and diseases, because it's working at the inner cell level. And if you're working intracellularly, same as the RNA DNA replica product, same as the microbiomes, you're going to affect an improvement. If you affect an improvement in a cell division, you're going to have luck. You're going to change the cells, change the tissue, change the organ, change the system. And if you're detoxifying, you're going to be getting rid of the negative element that's detoxifying the cells, toxifying the cells. Here we have the nuclear proteins, and this is a great one, and I'm very, very grateful to have this product, which is grown off of bacteria. It is a cell wall fragment of the bacteria in the exact genetic code that we need for humans. And here is how it's broken down. And A is adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine. And A will always join with T, G will always join with C. We have a sugar and we have a phosphate. So this is the nuclear protein structure, all right? And it's always like that. And we have to make sure that we have all these proteins. We have the protein building block, a sugar, and a phosphatase. And this particular product will do that for us. It's critical right now because I'm seeing huge amounts of damage, very low levels of these nuclear proteins. So that means that the human genome, the human code, is being destroyed. It's being damaged. And there's a whole lot of information here on the chromosomes and purines and pyrimidines. And one thing that's very interesting here as well, this point here, we have 4 nucleotides offering the 4 different nitrogen bases, adenine, guanine, thymidine, and cytidine. And these will then produce the adenosine triphosphate, guanine triphosphate, cytosine and thymidine triphosphate. Most people will get the coenzyme A, all right? Coenzyme A. In this product, you have coenzyme all 4, right? You don't get it in any other form, in any other product. So we're not only dealing with CoQA here, we're dealing with all of them. And that's just tremendous. So there's no missing. So here are some of the foods that, let me just see the time. Okay. These are some of the foods now that I wanted to get onto, particularly because of their unbelievably powerful nutritional value and their ability to shape our DNA. Now, right in the beginning, when the earth began, the algae, which synthesized, it was the first food to synthesize out of the atmosphere, out of the nitrogen in the atmosphere. So the algae, spirulina, was formed out of the nitrogen and crystallized out. All right, and it brought oxygen onto the planet and a host of other things. But anyway, and that oxygen then became more and more dense in the Earth's atmosphere. And then the fungal spores that landed were able to grow. The long hyphae, the roots then all developed this huge network underground in the ground, in the Earth's surface, covered by these huge fruiting bodies. Some still exist in the world today. And the mycelia, the medicinal mushrooms, created the earth, the soil, and made it ready for the planting of the green plants, so that we could come along and we could consume the green plants, consume the oxygen, and live on the planet. So a blue-green algae is anabolic. It will build up the body. A medicinal mushroom is actually catabolic. It will detox, break down the things that shouldn't be in the body. But amongst other things, they will also do cholesterol, organ restoring and realigning of organs and so on. So will the medicinal mushrooms. It's the algae. The algae are really good for immunity. They're all good for immunity, but in particular, neurotransmitters for the brain. But basically, blue-green algae it's actually DHA, which is virtually DHEA. So blue-green algae is going to help produce hormones. And you can see a lot of things here: brain function, memory, protection against neurodegenerative diseases, Alzheimer's, Parkinsonism. So if it's protecting against anti-aging, you know that it's restoring the genes. It's as simple as that. And then some more here we're talking about, and this is one of my favorites as well, the pollens, the royal jellies, the propolises, and also for immunity, rejuvenation, infertility, building connective tissue, boosting the immune system, building stem cells. I'll talk to you about stem cells in a moment. All these products build stem cells. If you're building a stem cell, that's anti-aging. Adult stem cells, plant-based, it's anti-aging. But the pollen will build RNA, will build the mRNA. So it's really, really critical. Anti-cancer, of course, because anything that's promoting anti-aging is going to be anti anything destructive. And here we have the beautiful, beautiful medicinal mushrooms, the reishi, the chaga, lion's mane, cordyceps, maitake, shiitake, and then we have our turkey tail, the Coriolis. And recent webinars on medicinal mushrooms and their value talks a lot about the Coriolis. I can tell you that the cordyceps, the lion's mane are on a par, if not higher value than the Coriolis even, but they, I mean, you can't really say that, but their effects are huge. Particularly, for example, cordyceps would be just an amazing product for the lungs, and stimulating the use of oxygen in the body, particularly with lung and pneumonia infections and so on. You know, lion's mane will work more on the brain and brain stem cells. Rishis will work on organs and blood sugar and cholesterol. So there's not too much that these medicinal mushrooms don't do, that the algae doesn't do, that the pollen doesn't do. They automatically know. When we consume these products in their natural state as nature made, the body's inherent ability to absorb and use and read these products kicks in, and we get medical miracles. And you literally sit back and you watch all of this. You detoxify and you nourish. And it's all about dosage. So you could use a really high dose of cordyceps and detoxify and come down to a lower dose, which would be nourishment. I'm just saying. So what we detoxify with, the same as oxygen. A lower dose of oxygen is food. A higher dose of oxygen is a detox. Just so you get that perspective. So we really, in terms of, or also the Coriolis, in terms of regenerating nerve endings after radiation and chemotherapy and protection. So we have a mushroom mix which has got all 6 in it. All right, all 6 of them in there. We also make a very nice tea at our Life Force Cafe. Reishi, chaga, tea, coffee, call it whatever you want. All right, so these products move a lot. They move. They really do move. And, you know, I've been talking about this for like 10 years or something. And now, yes, it's becoming really, you know, mainstream now, which is fabulous. Well, our mainstream. Here's the stem cells. Now, these are the top 5 products that produce adult stem cells, plant-based. Everything we're talking about here is plant-based, quantum-based, life force-based, nature-made. So the algae, the cordyceps mushroom, the lion's mane mushroom, the royal jelly, and the foti, in my research, there's also a kami kelp, but they will produce adult stem cells, which is what we want because that is rejuvenation, it's anti-aging. And the stem cell will morph into whichever, if it needs lung tissue, if we need gut tissue, whatever tissue we need, it's the nutrients that are going to come in. It's a very important part of any methodology to heal. And then what did I do long ago? I put all of these things, all of these products. Let's just go down here first of all. I'll show you a little bit later. All of these products, 6 mushrooms, 3 algae, about 7 adaptogenic herbs, things for liver and kidney and parasites and aromatase inhibitors and vitamin C and so on, antioxidants all into one. And we've got the stress defense shield, brain fuel, stress defense shield, extreme performance boost. I put all of this in long ago. And that's why I said to you, we have one packet. We don't have a packet for gut, a packet for hormones, a packet for muscle building. These have got all the building blocks the body needs. The innate potential to do it will be there. There's nothing patented here. There's nothing synthetic. It is 100% natural. All put together for you. You don't have to buy 30, 40 packets to put it together yourself and make your smoothie. There's a smoothie or the capsules. All right, and there is closer, and there's a closer picture of all the products, all of them inside. You know, cat's claw will even do lymphatic clearing. So we've got so much medicine in there, but the innate ability of the body to heal kicks in, and the body will use these nutrients to the best of its ability. It has its own compass, it has its own computer, and it will set about doing this. I can tell you a story. When I first produced the Stress Defense Shield formula, I made medicinal chocolates, put them on the market, wrapped them in silver paper and all the rest of it, and I started getting a sore stomach. In like the first two weeks of putting them on the market, and I thought to myself, what have I done? What have I done? But I realized, and I actually wanted to recall them, but I realized in time that I was going through a detox. So it's all dose dependent as well, and I don't have that detox ever again. But you know, the first couple of times of consuming those chocolates, or maybe a smoothie, or maybe the products, you will detox. If you take 6, you'll detox. If you take 1 or 2 capsules, you won't detox. So just again to express the microbiome reset, okay, and this is also amazing because we have actually 120 live microbes in here. And this is all out of the brochure, so I just copied and pasted it. We don't talk about colony forming units because we don't have to. There's no cold chain. We're not trying to keep 2, 4, 8 or 12 strains alive. We have up to 120 live strains, okay, that will morph into your own human microbiome. It's like your thumbprint. So we're giving the choice to the body again to use the essential microbes in the way best it sees. And again, you've got to give the body choice because we can't second guess nature or the body. So we do this. This microbiome reset is used by a professor in Natal in South Africa for AIDS patients. And his statement was that there are only 2 live probiotics, and this is one of them. So it's live, it's got live enzymes as well, which is very important for digestion. It will scavenge heavy metals, it will scavenge pathogens, alkalinize, and very, very importantly, it will produce vitamin B and K in the body. And just over here, some of the things you see. It boosts levels of serotonin and dopamine because it's producing the vitamins and the minerals in the gut. It's producing serotonin and dopamine in the gut, improving digestion, enzyme levels, etc., etc. So it's very important here for shaping the DNA. And then we're coming too close to where Professor's going to join us. This is the time crystal that I'm speaking about. It is in a scalar wave. All these products that I've talked about are nature-made. They are in a quantum scalar wave. Our body is a scalar wave. Our cell is in a scalar wave. Our DNA is in a scalar wave. The genes, the little gene foci are in scalar waves. The spinners in a golden mean. And this time crystal potentiates the scalar wave, potentiates the quantum field in the same way as the quantum device potentiates the quantum field. So when you wear this device, you are potentiating your scalar wave. You are potentiating and warding off negative aberrant forces, detoxifying, preserving your DNA, and allowing yourself to make those intelligent decisions. Not wasting time, not having to deal with the distortion, the deception, and so on. And that is the most important message that I really want to bring to you. Let's consume, wear, do things that raise our life force, that reinforce the development of our DNA beyond levels that we ever thought were possible. And in that way, we can sort of laser beam, move with momentum into the newer space, the newer dimensions, or wherever we're leading to. So that's very, very important. And these devices are brought to us by Professor Desiree Dubonnet. launch price here at $5.45 on my website. There's also bulk purchases available and so on. So those of us that have worn these devices, those of us that are bathed constantly in a scalar wave, I said the other day, if I go near my microscope, let's say I've taken a blood slide, a sample of someone who's sick, someone who's got blood clots, someone who's got cancer, and the blood's thick and sticky. And I come near the microscope. If I hold it near this device, what starts happening is this device starts uncluttering and declotting the blood, separating the red cells out, because the red cells, being biological, are picking up the scalar wave. So that's what's happening to me on a daily basis, and anyone who owns a device and is wearing it. So I'm preserving the DNA, making intelligent decisions, warding off negative aberrant forces, clearing emotions, because emotions we saw earlier are also going to affect the DNA. And I'm in a 4-room flat ceiling room right now, but most of the day I'm in a dome structure with 8 walls. The lounge that I'm in, where my office is. So I'm feeding off a scalar wave permanently. And there's lots more information on this on the website. And there's the website address. So that's what I wanted to share. I wonder if you have any questions that you want me to share answers with, or I see a lot of you joining me on Facebook. It's nice to see you. Yeah, so I've belted it out. Lots to digest. And, you know, in summary, it's about energy, life force, you know, warding off positive entropy, which is a draw on our electrons. It's destructive, it's degenerating, and rather look at neg entropy, which is what we feed off. And we're getting fed in all sorts of ways, including the sunshine, including the earth, nature, the air, water, sound. We're getting fed by the company that we keep, the artistic creative work that we do, where we're joining the left and the right brain. Plaiting will join the left and the right brain at the same time. It reinforces our DNA. Making beads with the sequencing will also reinforce the sequencing of the DNA. So lots, as I say, lots and lots and lots of wonderful information. It's the space where I live. It's what I love. And I just want to share all of that. And we have the toolkit to do this. So, you know, consuming food is the grossest form of energy. You put some spirulina in your mouth, it will literally get absorbed from the mucous membrane within seconds. It's in the blood. And there's been no necessary to pass through the liver. There's no necessity to reduce any energy level of the body. In fact, it does anything but that. It actually enhances the energy. So you've eaten, but you're on a higher energy level. You sit down and eat a full roast with Yorkshire pudding and gravy and potatoes and meat, you're going to end up at a lower energy level than before you started. And you know, it's gross and dense, just to put it in perspective. So we have choices, and that's the most important thing. Let's see also who's sitting in here. So there's a question here, statement. Most people have huge digestive issues, preventing most nutrient supplements don't find their way into the body. Yes, it is. It is totally different because, as I said to you, a very high vibrational food substance like a reishi mushroom, a cordyceps mushroom, they will enter the bloodstream within 10 seconds. Basically, most of it goes directly through the mucous membrane. It doesn't have to get metabolized and worked into time in the stomach and then hopefully get absorbed. Many of them will repair the gut, and that's what I said to you in my story. When I sold the medicinal mushrooms, I started detoxifying in the gut. It started repairing the gut for me, so that I got better absorption anyway. That replica RNA DNA actually cleans out all the little villi inside the intestine. It's absolutely marvelous for repair of the gut and leaky gut. So, I would bring that in if leaky gut was a problem. I would want to repair the gut too. A lot of the reason why people are not absorbing is stress, and emotions. So they will hold stress, hold the emotion in, and then the food just putrefies. And we start getting lumps. That's the end of it, and those lumps could be very malignant and end up in the lymphatic system. There's a lymphatic system in the gut, and then you start getting bloating and all sorts of terrible things happening. So prevention is always better. We want to make those decisions up front, make those good choices, and then, eat foods that are easy to absorb. If you rub spirulina on your skin, it's going to end up in your bloodstream. If you rub ormus gold on your skin, it's going to end up in your bloodstream. So ormus gold does not need anything to enter the bloodstream. It just has a force that goes straight through. Cell vitality oxy minerals, that oxygen is a scavenger, does not need the liver, does not need to be absorbed, metabolized. That oxygen enters the blood and it does what it needs to do. It's gas. So, I like to think we're using, the most beneficial, most effective detoxifying agents, the most nutritious agents, and the rest you sit back because you're allowing nature and the body's innate ability to heal to kick in. And that's the most important thing of all. I just want to see where the professor is. I don't know where she is. So, Jürgen, thanks. That's a great question. Plus, we use the Microbiome Reset, okay, which is completely naturally made. It's the same made from the microbial cloud that we all sit in, that the plants are in, the animals are in, the microbial cloud around us. And it's got the live enzymes too. So those live enzymes assist with digestion and absorption. And when they clean the sewers, when they clean the oil slick on the ocean, they will use a natural microbiome reset like this, because these essential microbes munch up the oil, and they've also got the enzymes to break apart the oil. So these are just superpower foods that should be in everybody's on everybody's kitchen table. The flax seed oil is critical because it restores the cell membrane, and it toughens it, it conditions it, so that the wrongly charged matter doesn't enter the cell. The wrongly programmed mRNA strands are less likely to enter into the cell, because that's what we have to prevent. We have to prevent the toxins getting into the cell in the first place. So the flaxseed oil is critical for that, to condition the cell membrane. And to restore cells and restore tissues and organs, we need whole foods. We need whole plant foods, because the cell wall of the plant is critical to repair our organs. And if you think about the replica RNA DNA, it's made from bacterial cell wall material, fragments. So it's only going to restore our cells, tissues, organ systems. When you know this, you're very powerful, because you can eat intelligently and knowingly, and you will become aware of different feelings of consciousness, interdimensional space, real peace, intelligent decision making from the gut, where there's awareness and not emotional awareness, non-judgmental awareness, in other words, without emotion, which we talked about last night. See how it all just fits together absolutely beautifully. We can tweak a little bit with a zeolite, of course. We can tweak a little bit with a castor oil here or there, or you know, the organ detoxifiers, the liver, the gut, the kidney, the skin, the lungs. We can help the body descale with a chunk of piedra, for example, restoring and realigning us back to our authentic self. We can help the protein digestion, so the replica RNA, which is mRNA, which will help protein metabolism with the digestive enzymes, the microbiome reset. It's going to help protein metabolize. Again, when we're too stressed, we don't digest. And that, I promise you, that is probably 80% of people's problems, why they don't absorb and why the guts is just still. And constipation followed by diarrhea, just in an ever never-ending cycles. And that's when you get the putrefaction and the fermentation. And then you start getting holes in the lining, leaky gut, and then the wrong organisms, the big food particles, and all the junk from the gut enters then into the bloodstream, making it heavy, thick, more bacteria, more pathogens, more toxins, and they will then float around to the brain and all the rest of it. So the gut and the brain are always directly linked. Migraines and brain fog is definitely constipation, definitely parasites in the gut. So, you know, it's all about preserving our energy, a very high vibrational energy, always a very good high charge. You can't fix a cell phone that's flat. So we have to plug it in. We have to plug our bodies in. With a time crystal, keeps the body charged. Quantum device, a QUEX session will charge the body. Detoxification will charge the body. It will raise immunity as well. And then nutrients and minerals are going to also charge the body. So, you know, we eating to live as opposed to the other way around, but we're conscious about it, and we know where the electrons are taking us. So all these foods I've mentioned are electrons in different forms and in different guises, if you like. And, you know, our body will then use it as best it needs to at that particular moment, according to its own computer. So that's, I think, been quite a good all-round discussion on understanding, you know, human evolution, transmutation, and anti-aging, really, and taking ourselves to a much higher level and living our purpose. I definitely want to leave the planet on a much higher vibrational space with a more evolved DNA, using more of my DNA, more than the 5%, let's say. And I hope you are too. So any questions, please let me know on the WhatsApp groups. I urge you to go and look at the website, because most of the things like Ormus Gold, there's a little video there. Zeolite, there's a video there, it tells you about zeolite, about radiation. Iodine, there's a little video clip there as well, and there's the information from the brochure there as well. So it's a real learning experience. There's a search. You can search the liver, and the liver products will come up. You know, you can search skin and lung, and the products will come up for you. I've got therapeutic boxes as well, which are holistic based. So if we're fixing hormones, we're also doing the liver, we're also doing the blood, we're also detoxifying, we're also making sure that the hormone building blocks are there. So it's a holistic box. It's not just reductionist. That makes it quite a lot easier. Anti-aging, the stem cells are in there, the ormus gold is in there, the microbiome is in there. So I've put it together specifically, you know, for practitioners and people that have really studied and know more than the average GP right now, quite frankly. Definitely more from a nutrition point of view. So yeah, let's take the information, let's spread it widely. You know, I do these live webinars. I want to demonstrate what's out there, demonstrate the case studies. You know, today's been more specifically about exactly this DNA and the products for this. And when you're operating like this, it doesn't really matter which part of the body's out of alignment, because the body will fix it for you. All right. Thanks for coming in. I'm not sure what's happened to Professor Desiree Dubonnet. So we will just wait until next Wednesday when she does the training. There's not even a message for me on the Skype, so I'm just telling you that I don't think. And I mean, we passed 8 o'clock. Hey, you're way past. So that's fine. It is what it is, and you got some good info this evening. And please, you know what? I don't know everything. I would love you to share information with me and share some good videos. I'm going to post a good one on our WhatsApp groups in a moment, and Telegram groups and so on. And I'm just going to download this first. Okay, the Facebook people, thank you so much for coming through too. It's been amazing, and this will then obviously be posted on Facebook too. But just to tell you all, on my YouTube channel, Jane McKenzie, there's loads of training material. Loads and loads and loads of videos there as well. Okay, so let's join in, let's train, let's bring a lot of people together, like-minded people, and you know, grow the collective consciousness. I think that's really what it is. And you know, it's not about this one's methodology or that one's methodology. We're working with nature, and I'm very happy with that. I'm not going to second guess that. It's been too good to me. It's treated me too well. The human body's treated me too well. It showed me miracles. And we literally perform miracles on a daily basis here at the Bryanston Center. So those of you in Joburg, come and visit and come and be part of this all and soak in the vibe, you know. I had a function the other day, and it was a dentist that came. And he came only for 20 minutes because he was pulled out to go and do a root something or other on someone's tooth. And he said, you know, Jane, I came for 20 minutes and I healed. Those 20 minutes that I spent at the center, I healed. I was bathed in the energy. So please come and visit. And come and try one of our Rishi coffees, or one of our Life Force Daily Essential Smoothies, or Stress Event Smoothies, or whatever it might be. And yeah, let's have some fun. And not forgetting also, please send the really chronically ill, because this clinic that I've set up, this drip clinic, is absolutely fundamentally amazing. And I'm not going to go into the case studies now because I have mentioned some already, but honestly and truly, you can see the life force seep into somebody 3 hours later, or even before the 3-hour drip is over. They are in a different energy plane. They are enlivened, regenerated, literally in front of me, and not one side effect. And we've got the O2 drip lounge, where we're doing, for those people Jürgen was talking about, battling for digestion. So things like glutathione, vitamin C, the minerals, the vitamins, we have all of those energy and immune boosting IV drips as well. And I've done this specifically because of exactly Jürgen's question there. And, you know, we alternate that with the oxygen maximizing drip, and the oxygen will relax people, reduce anxiety, enhance sleep, and detoxify. So again, we're working with nourishment and detox at different times. Okay, have a fantastic day, and I hope you've just indulged yourself in all this gorgeous information, and look forward to seeing you soon. So it will be Wednesday will be the ominous training next Wednesday, and on Thursday will be the Jane Live. Okay, watch the space.